Hello, here we are with marketing number 2, and we're going to be talking about types of markets. We have done this before in class, so I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on here, but just a word of warning, there are an awful lot of words on these slides. You might want to take your time and go through them a couple of times just so that you're familiar with them. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the resource market, the industrial market, intermediate market, consumer market, and the consumer market can be broken up into a niche market and to a mass market. I do hope you like my little lightsaber thing there. Okay, the first one is the resource market. It's where individuals or groups that are involved in primary production. So primary is the key word there. And of course by primary we mean things like mining, agriculture, forestry or fishing. Farmers purchasing things like machinery, seed, fertiliser, the things that they need to keep their business going are part of this market, this resource market. And as a group, they have very large purchasing power. They would be purchasing, the volume they'd be purchasing would be quite high, especially in a country like Australia where a lot of the farm holdings tend to be huge. Analysis here is examples of Rio Tinto and BHP, two of the biggest mining companies in Australia. So their purchasing power would be massive. So you can imagine the sort of volume discounts they'd be able to get. So this market, this resource market, this is where the production and sale of raw materials occurs. Okay, industrial markets, where goods that are used as supplies in the production process are traded. So this is where a business will be making some sort of a component and you wouldn't buy it as a finished good because it's not finished and it is used in the production of another product. It's unusual for any business to develop absolutely all the resources it needs to produce the finished goods. So most businesses involved in the industrial market purchases are in the secondary or tertiary sector. A case study here is Futurus Automotive, and this is a real company and they supply seats and interior trims, sorts of things on the inside of cars, to Holden and Ford that are produced in Australia, and of course for now it's going to end in 2016. So these seats and interior trims, they can't be sold on their own. They are only of any value when they are integrated, so put into the actual car, which is the finished product. Okay, so this is what's known as the industrial market. Intermediate markets, this consists of wholesalers, and I think for us to get this into our mind, this is probably the best way for us to differentiate it from the other markets. It consists of wholesalers and they purchase finished products and they sell them, on-sell them to retailers to make a profit. Wholesalers generally do not sell products directly to consumers. They sell to a retailer, the retailer sells to the consumer. They act as the middleman. Case study is Armstrong Electrical Wholesalers, and they're based in Perth, and they sell mining, industrial, oil and gas equipment to businesses all around the world. And they source their products, the finished goods, from companies such as Siemens and Pirelli, and there's lots of other companies that they source from as well. And then they sell them on to other businesses. That's the intermediate market. Wholesalers is the key word. Wholesalers selling to retailers, or retailers buying from wholesalers. Consumer markets, this will be the one that we of course know the best because it's the one that you and I are involved in. Individual members of a household, and they plan to use or consume the things that we buy. So wherever we go to buy whatever, consumer market. They're the most recognised market in the business environment. And often this business of course would have purchased the products from another business. A good case study is Panasonic or Samsung, who manufacture electronic products, but you don't rock up to Panasonic or Samsung to buy things. You actually buy them from places like Harvey Norman, JB Hi-Fi, and I'm sure there's lots of others that I just couldn't think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure we all know JB Hi-Fi. Consumer markets then can be broken down into mass markets, market segments and niche market, and we'll be looking at mass and niche here. Segmentation we do in a later lesson. Okay, here we are talking about mass markets, and we need to remember of course that we are still talking about the consumer market. So I'm just going to write this up here so we remember. It's a seller that mass produces, mass distributes and mass promotes one product, so just the one, to all buyers. Doesn't happen very much anymore. It was popular 50 years ago. There's no targeting to specific consumers. It's just the same for everyone. So the assumption is made that everybody has the same needs and wants. Of course, that's not really the case anymore. The case study was back then, the Model T Ford was sold as a mass-produced product. Very few products today are targeted to a mass market. It's just too expensive, way too much wastage, because we're not all the same and we have so much choice. It would be a waste of money for any business to think that we're all the same and market to us the same. Products that probably are still marketed as a mass market product are electricity, water, and of course postal services, which is a monopoly. Okay, now we're talking about niche markets, and of course we are still talking about the consumer market, which I'll write here again. You can also call a niche market a concentrated or a micro market or a narrowly selected target market. The customer base is narrow, quite small. Owing to the small customer base, sales won't be as frequent, but the prices can usually be high, and often the products are customised. And now remember, that can be a good or a service. Some examples are halal, Indian, Asian food stores that cater to specific market niches. If you visit any newsagent or go online, you'll see a whole variety of magazines, and there's just so many different niches, from gardening, bridal, fishing, cars, PlayStation, Sudoku, just to name a few. So that's the end of types of markets. Your homework for Business 12.4, you know that you have to finish worksheet M2 by Monday, and Business 12.5, you need to finish worksheet M1 by Tuesday. There is actually another clip as well, so please watch that one.